Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your January 2020 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So we come into a whole new decade with a sense of momentum from a very auspicious solar eclipse in Capricorn, which is, occurring. See, I gave myself away. I said which is occurring, so that means that I'm recording before then, which has occurred on Christmas the 25th or the day after, depending on where you live. And so in January, we're being kind of like brought into this new year, new decade, carried into it with that eclipse. And the sun is in that third house. This is the third house for you, Capricorn. And so Scorpio, you are really focusing on mental pursuits, communication. This can be a time of your siblings being very crucial in your life right now, may be beneficial because Jupiter is here. And so when I look at it from the standpoint of the way that we think, and talking about the third house, you've had Pluto here in Capricorn for 12 years. So this has really transformed your thinking. And Pluto is actually one of your rulers, along with Mars. So it's significant that Pluto is here for a Scorpio, because this is like having Mercury in Scorpio. And it's a very penetrating type of an intellect. It's like not being satisfied with whatever is on the surface, the mind of a detective. But on a more metaphysical level, it is concerning yourself with matters of the occult, esoteric knowledge, hidden knowledge, things that are not part of the mainstream. And this would be kind of like the secrets of the universe, or even like when we talk about mundane history. I don't know what they call it. I mean, we could say conspiracy theories, but that's kind of like a little bit dismissive. If anybody has read, material by David Icke, you know what I'm talking about. There is a name for it. Hidden history. That's not really the name, but in other words, even if you're learning about the history of your particular country or world history, and you start to examine it and you read certain material that doesn't follow the agenda that is, trying to be promoted to make a particular country look so great, you find, oh my God, look at all these things that have been done. And even looking at situations that may have not been the way that they were described, like what they call false flags, coming into starting a war that was actually created by a false attack. Okay, so these kinds of things, you might say, well, what's the value in learning that? The value is that you stop believing what you hear and read, and you only believe what you see for yourself or what resonates with you, because this is going to be more of when you have Pluto there, there's that quality, being one of the rulers of Scorpio, that on the energetic level. And this is like kind of like tearing down all those beliefs, or the knowledge that you received that may have kept you stuck in a certain pattern in this life. So it really can have a transformative effect. I think everything begins with thought. So it's something that is very important to explore, because, I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say you're somebody who believes the history of your country and it's very rah-rah patriotic, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I'm American, and you read about like some kind of alternative history, let's put it that way, and you were planning to go into the military. Well, you may think twice, and that will alter the course of your life. There may be times when it will prompt you to go into the military. You know, I'm not saying for or against, but I'm saying that you are more balanced in the information because you're not just being brainwashed. And this is something that has been going on for years for Scorpios, and this may have altered your perception of your reality. Yes, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I do believe that, but we are in this material world. So the information of the material world that the third house is all about, that is nothing to sneeze at. That is going to be important to us on some level in order to navigate this world and make the best choices. So having Pluto in this house, I think, is very powerful. And you have Saturn here, and that to me is more about how can I lay down a foundation based on the training that I'm getting so that I can be more valuable to my profession. And who knows, maybe even as hobbies to enrich your life. You want to learn how to do woodworking, I don't know, something that you might be able to parlay into a career, but you might just be doing it for fun, and it makes you happier in life, and you're getting that training. But it tends to be with Saturn, I think it's more of career related stuff. So, but definitely, you know, being disciplined in these trainings as well. The South Node is here in this third house, making you look at the ways that you are very kind of conditioned in your way of thinking and how to, you know, so not to kind of like fall back on old thought patterns. But now Jupiter is here, and this is where that solar eclipse occurred in Capricorn, and this will add positivity to your thoughts, a sense of expansiveness, of like, you know, believing that you can accomplish certain things. So that's wonderful as well, to have that kind of can-do spirit. And so where am I going with this? Well, I was just letting you know that that's where the sun is. And there was another planet that was in there. Mercury is there as well. Mercury is in its own house. So you may be definitely studying something or writing. Maybe you have decided to write a novel. Maybe you've decided to create a blog. You want to communicate. Scorpios, especially if you have Mercury in Scorpio, tend to be quite tight-lipped. So maybe this is more for the Scorpios who have their Mercury in Libra or Sag. I don't know. But in any case, so on the 3rd of the month, Mars goes into Sagittarius. This is your second house of earned income. So you may be kind of like Scorpio, being very gung-ho about earning money. This is right after the New Year, so it's possible that there's just a lot of orders to fill at work. Maybe you had some kind of a break, vacation, or the company shut down for the holidays, and now it's full steam ahead, and you're just working overtime, and you're just trying to get that going. But there's definitely an angle here where you may be like on a mission to earn money. Perhaps there's a certain goal that you need, are trying to reach. On the 10th, we have a lunar eclipse at 20 degrees of Cancer. This is going to occur in your ninth house, which is the higher mind. So I've been talking a lot about the mundane mind of the third house, which is more concerned with matters of this world. The ninth house is abstract knowledge. A lunar eclipse here, it could be, a letting go of something, but it can come through some realization. Maybe you're somebody who has been going to school, college at night and trying to balance work. And it's just been absolutely ridiculously hard, stressful. And then on top of that, you're not convinced that you're going to have any kind of job in that field. And you just give it up. And it's hard for Scorpios to give things up because you're a fixed sign. So you tend to get fixated on your goals. And this may be something from the universe that allows you just to let go. You have an epiphany, and that makes it so that you're able to release that need to do this. It might be releasing old patterns with that have to do with like religious programming. I believe that the ninth house would be religious dogma, and you rule the eighth house, which is more metaphysics. And so, because Scorpios are water signs, the intuitive part is always in your life on some level, and you really feel your way through life. So, if you have belonged to some kind of church, or, I don't want to single out churches, you know what I mean, religious organization, let's put it that way, that has promoted ideas that have triggered within you shame, guilt, or fear on a regular basis, you may decide that that is not a positive influence on your life, and you're going to just be done with that. And that is really great because it is something to think about. When people have a tendency to allow themselves to be negatively impacted by their own faith, that can turn people away from God altogether, and that's sad because the idea of the ninth house is really about having a philosophy in your life of how you want to live life. And I think that's so important. And I'm not talking about sitting down and creating your manifesto of, what you believe about your incarnation in this world. I'm just talking about how you conduct yourselves. If you have a set of ethics, that's the ninth house as well. What is your ethical framework? And this lunar eclipse can really bring a lot of insight to you about how this is impacting you. And it can just let it go. And that will usher in something that is of a higher nature. On the same day, there is Uranus, the fact that Uranus is going direct at 2 degrees of Taurus. So, for you, Scorpio, this is the 7th house. Now, the 7th house is the house of marriage. Taurus is your opposite sign. So, for the next 7 years, if you are married or in a committed partnership at that level, you need to realize that you're going to probably feel a great urge for freedom. Now, if you are in a relationship that is very controlling, Scorpio, you're not gonna tolerate this much longer. Now, it depends on the individual, and this is going to be for 7 years, so who knows? Does this mean that some of you who are married might get divorced? Yes, of course it does. But the one thing I'll say about this is that it will be on your timetable. It will be your decision to do this. It will be your call, because you will feel the rebelliousness within yourself in this marriage sector, and you will be yearning for freedom. If you're single, you may just be like, I'm not, there's no way I'm going to get deeply involved with somebody. I'm just enjoying my freedom. And Scorpios love to merge with somebody at the deepest level. So that is no small feat for a Scorpio person to resolve to do that. But that's Uranus in this house, is that it might be creating a lot of pull for a sense of autonomy. Or, well, it's with Aquarius, it's just that nonconformity. And of course, being, talking about marriage specifically, this is one of our institutions. And maybe you don't want to become institutionalized. But the other thing, too, that's along these lines is, I don't want to say everybody's who's in a committed relationship is going to split from that person. You may open up the relationship and bring other people in. Now, that may sound horrifying to the average Scorpio. But, Uranus is about being different, being offbeat. And so the reason I haven't been talking too much about what it means when Uranus is direct, because really, whether it's a retrograde or a direct, Uranus creates a lot of curveballs thrown in whatever house it's in. I'm speaking so much about this because this is the beginning of the transit of Uranus, and it's going to be here for 7 years, and I wanted to kind of touch upon this more deeply. On the 13th, Venus goes into Pisces. So, of course, Pisces is a fellow water sign. And so that's going to be in your 5th house of romance. Woo! There you go. So we have Uranus going direct in the 7th and Venus going into Pisces. Are these things in the 5th house? Are these things related? Only you can tell. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you are like, maybe all hell broke loose in your marriage because of your own interest in somebody else, and it just created a lot of unexpected things happening. You may be actually involved with somebody on the romantic level. Up until the 13th, Venus is in the 4th house of home and family. And that can lead you to sprucing up your home, painting it, getting new furniture or coverings, what have you, drapes. Venus can be money that you're making from real estate matters. Having harmony with your mother could be that, or getting money from your mother. On the 16th, Mercury goes into Aquarius. So Mercury has also been in its own house. As I've been stating, it's acquiring knowledge. And then it goes into your 4th house of home and family. Also, Mercury in the 3rd, reaching out to brothers and sisters, other extended family members. Perhaps there's some connection with the Venus in the 4th that has been recently in your life. Maybe you were estranged from your family for a number of years and you're reconnecting with them. Who knows? But you might being more communicative with your siblings, and just acquiring more knowledge. On the 20th, the sun goes into this sector as well. So yes, great emphasis on the mind and the communication that you're engaging in. And on the 24th, a new moon in this sector at 4 degrees of Aquarius. So new beginnings in a writing endeavor, speaking endeavor, teaching endeavor, that you're engaged in some way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting month how there is so much concentration on your mind. But especially, Scorpio, as you navigate this world. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. My website is rainamoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.